What song would be your theme song, or what music genre? Like whenever, like before you enter like into work or like home, like what?
Yeah, because it would have to be a genre, because I would like to say Africa by Toto, but that vibe is not always for every time you enter a room.
No.
Like you walk into like a business meeting, dun, 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 dun. It just like that's kind of like attention grabbing. But I feel like Take On Me by Aha for like walking into like a team meeting, dun, 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 like gets everybody up, you know.
Yeah, until you're like, hey guys, we're making some cuts.
Right.
So everybody's
But see, it couldn't be, but it also couldn't be like Never Gonna Give You Up, right? Like, because you're like, we're about to make some cuts. Never gonna give you up. Actually, we are.
So
This is gonna be weird.
But that would be a great way of like letting people go, right? We've known each other
no,
for so long.
there is a reason that I am HR. I think
I would start firing people like that.
it's weird.
I think general
80s music for me was the answer.
General.
If you didn't catch up,
If no one caught that,
A combination of like the symphonic, electronic, like the cyberpunk soundtrack. Honestly,
okay.
Because it's pretty good, and it's like, you know, it covers a lot of stuff. It covers a lot of moods. Have a lot of. Sometimes I come into work and I'm like, today's the day, and sometimes I come to work and I'm like, I'm thinking about going to sleep. So capturing both of those is really important.
Yeah,
maybe flamenco.
Yeah, I can see it.
For you? Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Where's Josh? Just walk by something.
Right. But you like do the foot shuffle across the floor. You're just like,
where are those castanets?
Yeah,
your shirt start getting ruffles on it.
Flower petals are falling. They're like, yo, where is that coming from?
Josh, we told you to clean that up last time. Yeah.
You're kicking the door. You got
away.
You got a rose in your teeth every time. You're like, what is going on?
And be tuxedo mask.
Enter a room, throw in a rose. Anybody seen Josh? All right.
And it says like out to lunch.
Barflies. Yes. They call me Ace Trainer Argent, and I am proud to welcome you to another episode of BNR, presented by the Blerd. Now, I am just one of the three triumvirate here right now. As you can see, stage left. Even though it's your right. So this gag is done now. Please stand, talk to the people.
They call me Big Dan.
Big Dan.
Rodan. Coming at you live from the 215, your comic book connoisseur, your Somali of sci-fi and superheroes, here to welcome you to another episode of BNR My Barflies. Yes, that's right. This body was brought to you by Nachos and Tacos.
Nachos and tacos. Nachos and tacos.
Nachos and Tacos.
The Naco.
But I am not by myself.
He's not.
I rarely am.
No, he ain't.
If you look to the heavens... All right.
Can we start over?
No. Tis I. Hailing from the land of sake, shinobi, and samurai, the boy is Godzilla personified. There is no other name but this to go by. It's your boy, Jayhawk. Thank you.
No. Thank you. So we're in here. Now, BNR stands for Booze, News, and Reviews. So he was literally just talking. Jayhawk, what do we got?
For booze?
For booze this evening.
Give it to him.
Here you go, buddy.
Today we have Aphrodite's
What do we have?
I wasn't expecting this. Aphrodite's Tears from Armageddon Brewing. We were actually out there this past weekend. It was a good time, fun time. They have amazing mead. Definitely go out and try that. So it's really delicious. But we're here to talk about Aphrodite's Tears.
That is open. Be careful.
Okay. Wow. Okay, here we go. Curse that boar. That damned boar that took her one true love away. So great was the love between Aphrodite and Adonis that even the other Olympians grew jealous. Ares, in particular, grew so envious of their bond that he sent a boar to kill the young Adonis on what would be his last hunt. Gored by the wild beast, Adonis' screams of pain were heard by Aphrodite, who rushed to his side. Adonis died in that forest, in Aphrodite's arms. Her heart-shaped tears poured down that forest. Oh, nope. Her heart-shaped tears poured down her face, off of his lifeless body, and into the earth below, where she cried, strawberries grew. To commemorate their love and her loss, we've crafted a strawberry rhubarb mead that we hope you love as deeply as Aphrodite loved Adonis. It's 13% alcohol by volume, and it's a strawberry rhubarb mead. Aphrodite's tears. Please. Indulge yourself.
That was really good for a cold read, buddy.
Yeah.
I do what I can.
While you pour, shout outs to Christian and Matt at Armageddon Brewing. Having been there and hearing him speak on like his passion about it, I feel like if you're into hard ciders and meads,
which we are,
you spilling it a little bit.
What?
Don't be wasting these drops.
Where?
You shedding tears on that bottle, my guy. Anyway, listen, if you guys can head out to Armageddon Brewing, we'll put the links in the description and all of that. Just listen to this man talk about his passion for brewing, and I feel like you'll understand where he's coming from with this. I'm going to try mine now.
That's strawberry mead.
So yeah, but this mead, you know how sometimes mead can like hit you almost like a jelly, like it's that much sweet. Like this is so mild, like on the sweetness, but the flavor comes through very, very nicely. It really fills your mouth without being like too much, but it's like you said, like, oh yes, that has strawberries. Yeah. Also, Christian was telling us about how he doesn't even use any artificial sweeteners, any artificial anything. It's literally just concentrate. So these flavors come through in such an organic way, and I mean that in like organic. Please excuse me.
You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing.
This almost juice. You can get in trouble with this, man.
Yeah, it's
actually now I think about it, if you're saying 13%, the way I just downed this, I was like, 13%? Oh, okay, my bad.
You gonna stand up and it's like 13%.
Strikes. This is it sounds really stupid, but it literally and I feel like people will say this all the time, but like it tastes like strawberry and it tastes like mead. Like he really does it's great. I'm not usually a strawberry fan either.
I didn't know that. I want to issue a challenge to all barflies where if you go to Armageddon Brewing and you get anything less than you would give a 4, you got to tell us about it.
Yeah.
Because like this is everything that we tried, and we tried a couple of we had 4 ciders and one what was the mead? Mint chocolate chip,
which is not released yet. That was a sneak preview he gave us. That's how cool he was. Like when we talked about like what we do. I mean, we paid for our visit.
Yes, we did.
don't think it's a game. Right. We be supporting out here.
No, that was But yeah, so this
back to this
strawberry mead, strawberry rhubarb.
See, that's the thing. I was waiting for someone to see like if you recognize the rhubarb profile, but. You guys, may not have rhubarb as often, which is kind of why if you're paying attention, you'll almost feel like a green profile, kind of like a earthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what you're getting there is partially rhubarb. But I often enjoy strawberry rhubarb pie. So
is it a balance of like sweet and?
It's sweet. It's very sweet. It's very tart because rhubarb is very tart.
So it's the tartness.
Largely the tartness is what
so that's funny because I know when we went to the brewery, yeah,
it's hard to say.
meadery, whatever. When we went there,
giving them out early.
I I felt like almost everything had like a slight tartness to it, but I am one who I am not a fan of tartness.
Right.
So with this, I tasted it, but it's not overwhelming. It's you know how I think one of the ciders that we tried, I was like, oh, but like the tartness is like in the back row. He's not like like this tartness. I think he's like outside of the amphitheater. He's just like standing guard out there. He's just there.
He just texted y'all like, "Yo, I'm here."
Yeah.
I mean, I think
he's like the usher, like outside, making sure that everybody like gets in. Fine.
Maybe
he's waiting. Because
I feel like it definitely pairs with it. Like
yeah,
you're getting it when you're drinking the strawberry part as well. But if you have more as it goes on, you start to recognize like they're side by side.
Really?
At least for me.
I find that I felt like a lot of the ciders.
I'm talking about for this one.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I'm saying like a lot of the ciders that we tried, the tartness was always like, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm here.
Those also are based with apples.
True.
Where this is just the honey mead.
Exactly. So,
what are we feeling, fellas? What are we feeling?
One, I'm a big fan of mead. I wish I had my drinking horn. RIP. Maybe next season I'll come back with another one. But I'm gonna say this is definitely like in the fours for me. From mead, the last mead that we had was like okay, right? Like
the mint chocolate one?
No, that was straight no chaser.
This was it. Straight no chaser was the last mead we had.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
that was good.
And that was a few episodes back. So quite.
I'm going to give it a 4.3 repeating because they just keep going, y'all.
Did I give a number yet?
No, I'm sorry.
4.
Okay.
I was gonna say 4. I agree. 4.
This is good. It's really good stuff. Really good stuff. Bringing it back to Big Dan. Do you have any news, my friend?
Do I have any news? Not much.
And welcome to Shotzi. Where one member of the Blerd Bar,
that's me,
will be
Thank you. I was thinking it.
asked questions by another member of the Blerd Bar, which is me. We have Dan the Man.
Rodan.
Are you ready?
Nope, that's not me.
Are you ready?
I am.
What is the name of the species in the series Invincible? What is the name of the species, the hive mind species from Mars?
I forgot. Do you know how long ago this series came out?
Yes.
And the last time I read it?
Yeah. I know both of these things, actually. And if you know the answer, please let us know in the comments. But for now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
That wasn't good. Largely because a lot of what we did this past weekend is review stuff and watch stuff. So as far as news goes, they're revamping Swamp Thing again in DC.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah, right.
Wow.
Rogue Squadron. Patty Jenkins has delayed that indefinitely.
Oh, really?
Yep. Because whatever.
I think it's a good book series. I know a lot of people were excited about it.
Well, Rogue Squadron has video games. They have all that other stuff. I don't think the fan base is big enough for that.
A movie.
One, because Star Wars, like while the flying around and all of that, like in spaceships, is a thing for Star Wars, it's often not like the linchpin of Star Wars.
Yes, it's true.
So, last but not least, Star Wars Prodigy lands an early season 2 order. Prodigy is actually CGI.
Well, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Okay.
Prodigy.
Wanted to double check.
Is CGI animated.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, it's a little bit more grown up, so you're not getting like a Star Wars Rebels vibe off of it.
That was Y7, I guess.
So, and available on Paramount Plus. So
good old Paramount Plus.
I like. It's not where shows go to die. It's
not. I think it's just where some people. You got to know your fan base, right?
Sure. I haven't gathered the friend who has Paramount Plus to like check it out.
Right? Wait, Josh, are you saying you got some news, buddy?
I got news. So a lot of reviews that I'm just gonna blitz through, and then some actual news. Finna the Pirate Princess. Mm-hmm. It was okay. It was. I think, like I said, if you're waiting to catch up on some stuff, or if you're waiting for like the next episode to drop, you can watch it. It's 12 eps. It's not horrible, but there was nothing groundbreaking, and I felt like they did a thing that a few anime I've watched does, where in the first episode when you meet whoever the top fighter is going to be, whoever the main fighter guy is going to be, it's like a really cool like fight scene. Like that's probably where they spend 30% of their budget, like of their entire budget. It goes to like this fight scene. And then the rest of the episodes, you have to build the story and do all the stuff and tell us why we should care. So it's okay. It's not a bad show by any means. I would probably just give it a 3. And you could keep it moving, take it or leave it. Platinum End. As of this recording, there's only 4 episodes. There are definitely moments where you can tell that the people of Death Note like wrote this or created this as well, because they like to give like their characters like rules, like in the grand scheme of things. With Death Note, there were a bunch of excuse me, let me come back. But
that's right. We have the 90s sitcom audience.
But yeah, in Death Note, they have like rules of what you can do with like the diary and everything, or the note. And in Platinum End, there are also like a good amount of rules that people have to adhere to. It does have a bit of CGI placed in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you surprised though?
I'm not surprised, and it's not horrible. It was just something I noticed. It was like, oh, okay, sure.
The future is now, Grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. So, just gotta, whatever. So, The World's Finest Assassin, the Isekai. There's only 4 eps as of this recording. This one is also something that, so for me, it would be a lot better if there was less fan service.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's needed. And also, of course, all of these characters are like 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's weird. Maybe it's just not for me, right?
Are we the target audience?
Right, exactly. So, but outside of that, the story is actually interesting, and like seeing him power up and everything has been interesting. But I have been rewatching Saga of Tanya the Evil, and that actually holds up. Like the story holds up, the action holds up, the characters, like it's actually really good. I would definitely, if you have not watched Saga of Tanya the Evil, please do. I also recently rewatched Cowboy Bebop.
Oh snap!
Yes.
Is there any particular reason why?
Because going into whenever this new one drops on Netflix, this Netflix live adaptation, adaptation.
Giving them out early today.
I wanted to
Little Slippy.
the return. I wanted to just really be able to compare it if need be. And I say that because after watching Cowboy Bebop, the anime, I think that we can go in with a bit more grace for this live adaptation.
Well, now
are you saying is it good or is it nostalgia?
No, I think it's good. Cowboy Bebop, the anime, is good. The thing is, there is a very light, overarching story. a lot of their stories are like very much like one-offs. Like this is just one tale out of many tales in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was engaging, but I think if the live adaptation actually has a strong story that they want to tell,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be fine. I think it won't be horrible.
I'm pretty confident that the live adaptation is going to actually have more of a thorough story.
Connected.
Yeah.
Place your bets now.
I think it'll be good. And rewatching Cowboy Bebop made me think about Lupin the Third and why I've never really gotten into that. Like, so I'm gonna give that another try at some point in time. But there's like
maybe on our downtime I'll watch it.
There's like 6 seasons of that, and I'm a purist and try to start at episode 1, and that was back in the 80s. Anywho, if you're looking for a fresh way to show off your love of Jujutsu Kaisen, specialty clothing store Zumiez recently dropped a brand new collection featuring everyone's favorite characters. The line of clothes and merch is available now, so check it out over at the Zumiez website to see what's on offer. Let's see here.
Or you could buy a Blerd bar shirt.
That's true. You could do that. That's better. The members of the armed detective agency will return for another season as the official accounts for the Bungo Stray Dogs anime series announced today that new content is currently in development. The new season will also come to Crunchyroll as it airs in Japan. If you haven't seen Bungo Stray Dogs, it's actually pretty good. I will say it's been a while since I have watched it, but I remember enjoying it pretty thoroughly. Probably give it a 3.54. Maybe come back later. Yeah, come back later after I've watched it again. But here is the description for season 1. Kicked out of his orphanage and on the verge of starving to death, Nakajima Atsushi meets some strange men. One of them, Dazai Osamu, is a suicidal man attempting to drown himself in broad daylight. The other, bespectacled Kunikida Doppo, nervously stands by flipping through a notepad. Both are members of the armed detective agency, said to solve incidents that even the military and police won't touch. Atsushi ends up accompanying them on a mission to eliminate a man-eating tiger that's been terrorizing the population. And the hijinks ensue. So that's all my news.
Nice. Thanks. Go to wide for mine because mine is really short. Thank you also. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, which is going to be released on PS4 and PS5 December 16th. Pardon me one moment.
I guess.
Which will be released December 16th. The gameplay is out now. It is going to be a first-person stealth game trying to survive.
Like Sly Cooper?
No, it's more horror survival.
Yeah.
Imagine Aliens Isolation.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. But the gameplay for that is now out. Games drop in December 16th. King of Fighters 15 Open Beta. You got a brand new game element in the Shatter Strike. You got a brand new character in Dolores. The beta's open. Try it out. Punch some people. Be good. Be good.
Punch some people.
So that's it. We had some boo. We had some delicious booze. We had some very straightforward news. I think it's time.
What's it time for?
It's time for some reviews.
Show enough.
Okay. Sometimes you guys remind me that I do this with friends. Sometimes.
Show enough.
We are not professional.
No. Yes, we are. Getting there.
So what are our reviews?
Oh, man, right?
And welcome back to Shots. Number 2. Let's do it. Are you ready?
I'm kind of ready.
Bang.
After his adventure with in the Invincible series, after his adventure with Monster Girl and time travel, What does Robot change his name to?
I forget. Oh man. Not Alex, is it?
Is that your final answer? Because it's wrong. If you knew the answer, please subscribe to the Patreon. For now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
I'm about here fighting for my life. This was a big weekend, man.
It was a big weekend.
A big, highly anticipated weekend for a lot of reasons.
Large.
Marvel's The Eternals dropped. Right?
We saw it. We saw it together.
Did see it.
Josh watched the movie with us.
Josh broke down and watched the movie with us in theaters. There weren't a lot of interruptions from us. There was the lady that was sitting next to you with her phone. But other
shout out to that lady.
Yo, her brightness was on 100.
She did the best she could.
That's great. That's great.
One boy kept going in and out because he had to answer phone calls. COVID really opened my eyes to just being at home. And
we can't get
into that. That's a totally different episode.
Patreon.
Maybe. I don't even think we need to unpack it there. But
Marvel's Eternals.
Yes, Marvel Eternals, and also Harder They Fall, which is currently out on Netflix. We're gonna do Harder They Fall, last. Just because. And let's start with the Eternals. Obviously, I have to go last because
you don't have to.
No, comic books.
Yeah, you know the most of.
I know the most, and so I feel like that's normally where most of the time gets wrapped up. Is me kind of trying to either explain away or save the fact that this movie might be what it is. Anyway, anybody else go first?
What you got to say, bro?
Here's what I have to say.
I'm excited.
So before going into the Eternals, I actually I wanted to watch videos to understand who they were.
A wise move.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Because I think, here's the thing. I think you either can't learn too much about the characters and I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, duh. But or you have to accept that everything is subject to change in the MCU. Because if you go in just if you go in with just what you know of the writing and what they did in the comics, I literally almost said manga. But if you go in with what they did in the comics,
a little slippy, man.
I remember I was actually asking Dan questions. I was like, but wait a minute. I was like, but wait, they can't die though. This doesn't make sense on why this is happening. And then after going back home, I have to realize that this is the MCU. And I think actually Blerd on the Street, Jillian, she made this point of just it is the MCU is a totally different animal unto itself.
For sure.
And I think before I never really had that issue of making that connection or disconnection rather. But this time I kind of went in because it was such a star-studded cast and there were so many people. I was like, oh, I feel like this should be a huge shift of some sort happening. And not to say that it wasn't, but it was just very jarring to see these as I knew them, over the course of 2 days.
All my growing up.
Right, yeah, exactly. These super powered beings, kind of whatever. I was told that they could all fight. And I saw a lot of it was very much a you legit had like a party where everybody had their own certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that is true, but I felt like with them being Eternals in the way that they are, at least in the way that they were marketed towards me, everybody should have hands. And that wasn't the case, I don't think. Outside of that, I mean, it was a movie from the Marvel machine. Like, it was...
I'm interested in what you mean by that.
You've asked me this before.
I'm always going to say
and it's never going to change. They know they have a budget. They have deep pockets. They can do certain things that look aesthetically pleasing. They have good writers. Like, they can make a good movie. It's a good superhero movie. It's on par with all of their other good superhero movies that we've been seeing for the past 10 to 12 to 13 years. So I don't know what you're making that face for.
I'm waiting to get to the score. I'm interested.
Okay.
I'm invested.
So all that being said, it was a fine movie. I think between my disappointment with the depowering of characters, between
I'm over here minding my business.
Don't be looking over here.
Right? Your looking ass. Between it just being an average movie and then watching The Harder They Fall, which
we shouldn't have done both in the same weekend, but
should they eat they can't be compared, but at the same time,
do you dare?
So, anywho, Eternals for me, I give it a very basic, like 2.83 at best.
You gotta stop giving these ranges, man.
What? It's like
I had to say I that was higher than I thought it was going to be for you, not for me. Thank you for everything you had to say. I'm going to be real quick because Big Dan got a lot to say.
This is probably the first Marvel movie where I don't have much to say.
Okay, sweet.
Except for the Patreon.
Except for on the Patreon. We'll probably get into it a little bit more on the Patreon.
I also took the time to look up a couple of YouTube videos because I didn't know these characters. So I'm really sorry. Yeah, what's up?
Really quick. This movie, from now on, I like I've said this before, but I don't think I'm gonna look up any characters, and I'm just gonna go in and take what Marvel gives me.
Take what the MCU gives you?
Yes. I'm gonna take what the MCU gives me because otherwise, I don't know. And it's funny because this is what I wanted to say. It makes
No, you're good. Please.
It makes me like I get it, and I feel sorry for fans who have been like reading their like entire lives, and then they come in, and it's like to have to separate what you know and just take what they give you. Like, not to say that it's always bad, but like it sounds bad.
It's a mind cuss. It's a mind cuss.
It sounds bad, but it's like to take what they give you is just like I felt a certain way just by legit my like day and a half, let's say 2 tops of like videos watching on YouTube. It's not like I like spent time and effort like buying comics for like years or decades. So yes, from now on, I think I'm just going to
be okay, big fella.
Would you like to talk about it? No.
Chat. So yeah, from now on, I think I'm just gonna take what the MCU gives me and be okay with it. Be at peace. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So I, like Josh, looked up a couple YouTube videos because all I wanted to know. Now, if you remember our Black Widow review, literally it's like what they take the names. That's it. So I was like, all right, I just need to know what names are they using. And actually, when I read about the Eternals, like their origin, I was like, okay, I think this is a cool thing because the MCU brings stuff in. And it's like, okay, I think they'll at least get the origin kind of okay, and then they'll fit it into whatever the MCU is fitting it into. Once I like took 2 steps back about the MCU and my being like, bruh, adaptations suck. It's like, okay, it's a multiverse. This is just a different multiverse in the comics. There you go. This is over here. So I kind of like the first things I got at first, and I told Dan this when we walked out of the movie theater. I was like, man, I love Umbrella Academy. The whole superhero, but we're a family.
Fast and the Furious vibe.
Nothing but family.
Like family's cool and important. I think family is very cool and important. Like not even non-sarcastically. Anyway, this film, what did I like about it? Score was awesome. Ramin Djawadi, who does Westworld, Game of Thrones, great composer. Score was great. I liked the movie. The movie was all right, cool. I'm not upset at this. I messed up because I also have been watching Rick and Morty, and I just saw the heist episode before we went to go see this. Not that this is a heist movie, but like getting the gang together, like that was the movie. It's like, oh, we got to get everybody together. Or even like the reason that I made the comparison to Umbrella Academy, I was like, somebody's got to die for everybody to come back together. And it's like, oh, okay. The things
First of all, it's spoilers. Why are you like, if anybody's watching this, we're going to be spoilers.
Hopefully. I like Salma Hayek in this movie. But what was I saying? Things I enjoyed. I really liked that when it came to a divide and belief of the team, we had a lot of realistic breakdown. Like it wasn't like everybody's for it and one person's like, I'm the badass character, so I'm going to say no. And then they convince them because like they all love each other. But it was like, two or three of them was like, nah, this is the thing to do. And the rest of them was like, nah, this is the thing to do. And one of them was like, yo, I think y'all wrong, but I'm not going to fight y'all over it because y'all my family. And it's like, I think that realistic breakdown was really cool for me. I really enjoyed that.
He might have been the best one there.
You think so?
Character wise, I think I enjoyed him on screen the most.
Really? Not Sprite? Not the Love Lord?
Who?
Kanga.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Love Lord Sprite, bro?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. This movie was very okay. This movie, I was worried because it was very slow, and there was a sex scene that lasted way too long for no real actual reason.
That's right. This was Marvel's first sex scene, like recorded.
And like when we got a thrust in there too, it wasn't even like just holding hands afterwards.
Don't unpack it. Don't unpack it. That's not this podcast.
But yeah, the fights were pretty good. I enjoyed the fight. I enjoyed the final sequence. I think it was very climactic, and it wasn't like a big burst followed by like a lull to another big end burst, and it was fine. Like 2/3, I got 1/3 of the movie in, and I was like, okay, all right, cool, I'm here. Because the first third, I was like, literally, no, damn, what was it? The first 15 seconds, I was like, I am confused. But they cleared it up. They got close to the actual origin. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3. If this is on, I'll watch it. If I'm over a friend's house and they're like, yo, we're watching all the MC movies, we're about to watch Eternals, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine.
I don't know. We'll see.
3.
3?
3.
Okay.
Huh.
All right.
This is on, I'll watch it.
Yeah, if it's on, I'll watch it. I don't think I'll turn it on.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going through the MCU rewatch, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
If you're going through if it's on, will you keep it on the channel and then like search for other stuff but have it on last just in case?
Right. Go back to it.
Yeah. I think that's me. I think that's
in
me.
the world of streaming services, is that even an actual thing?
That's
anymore?
not a real thing.
Is that even a thing?
That's a picture-in-picture type thing. And you just leave it on in the small picture. Maybe.
Big Dan, let's go.
Yeah, let's get into this. So
Get into it, yeah.
This movie.
I don't think we like her anymore, right? Or is she not canceled?
I thought she was.
Let me know.
I don't. We'll talk about that in a different episode.
Patreon.
Maybe not. But the Eternals. If you're any person like myself who knows who these characters were before the movie, don't get your hopes up. They are very similar, but very much in name only. The power sets are mostly the same, with the exception of maybe a few, caveats, but for my comic book readers, who were excited to see the Eternals enter the MCU universe.
All three of y'all. All three of y'all.
Disrespect. But see, but the Eternals are so directly tied to the mythos of Marvel's existence, right? Like, as the world building has continued to expand into the cosmic proportions of Marvel, and like how deep space is, and like evolution of Marvel's, storytelling, it's the Eternals are a very like integral part to that. So when you see that being put into the MCU, you think, this is going to be interesting. This movie could literally be watched with only knowing the end of Endgame, and that would be enough. You would never have to see the first 20 plus MCU movies.
But that's what they're trying to do, though, right? To be
yes and no, because the problem was, right, a large portion of the end of the movie required you to know who some of the characters were from Phase 3. Like, you see, there's Star Fox that shows up at the end of the movie, which is exciting, but at the same time, like, here. All right, I'm not even gonna get hung up on this because I really don't want to stay on this review too long because I'd rather get to the heart of the fall. What people anticipated was the kind of like the revitalization of Guardians of the Galaxy. Taking this fringe group of characters and thinking that everyone would be so hype on them based on the casting. And I don't think the commitment to bringing those characters to full life.
Oh, okay.
Like full expectancy to like get them to be developed. I feel like they were a lot of underdeveloped characters, underused characters. To the point where like they really showcase Cersei, which in my opinion, tough sell, but because you're like matter manipulation and you've been on this planet for how long and you haven't solved world hunger, like,
well, you're not supposed to interfere.
No, but after right, but that was the same thing with like Fastos, right? Like Fastos is like, you see all these people who look like you going to slavery, bro.
We can't interfere.
Can't interfere. That wasn't war, though. Anyway, you're telling me when they all went off on their own tangents and he was just like, this man made technology that built the atom bomb. That's interfering. So
can't interfere, man.
He interfered a lot. Hiroshima
but that was
interference.
But that was the straw that broke his camel's back, and then he stopped.
Slavery had already been going on. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
being hung up on a thing that doesn't matter because it's MCU. I get it. But I'm just saying the plot holes start to show themselves very quickly. You wasted Dane Whitman's character. You shouldn't have casted Kit Harington.
Oof.
What? You should not. Here,
but
I'm going to watch that.
He can swing a sword.
That's not the problem. He did not swing a sword.
Yet.
He did not swing a sword.
Bro, No Way Home. It's going to be cool.
The Black Knight is not showing up in No Way Home.
Everybody in No Way Home.
Okay.
Don't you know Hugh Jackman was seen on the set of No Way Home?
Sure, why not? All I'm saying is you introduced the Black Knight in a very weird way. Like you could have done that on almost any other movie.
Almost any other one. And
the only thing I will say, the only setup that this leads to, the Black Knight does lead to a Blade movie. Like there's a tie-in for that. So you may see the Black Knight in Blade's movie.
That'd be
maybe
cool. Sword fights.
Or in the Moon Knight show.
Yeah. Sword fights.
But I feel like that was just a really really big setup for no payout. Like
I'm sorry. It is still
I'm really quick. We're going to get into how I felt about the mishandling of the Celestials, but I wanted to make that like a group conversation, and then we can move on to the Heart of They Fall. My number, I'm giving this a 2.5. This is still it's a solid MCU movie. I will appreciate that the movie does not follow the beats of an MCU movie. Like this movie was not, bad guy reveal, oh, heroes don't like each other. Heroes are back together. Bad guy defeated. Everybody happy.
Wait for the end credits.
Right. This was very much like you said, like there was like very like dichotomy shifts. There was people who had like resolute beliefs and faiths in like and how they viewed their existence in the world and in the universe and their placement. And I think that was important. However, it just was not condensed and packaged correctly to be an MCU movie. It would have been a better movie not being an MCU movie. I understand you couldn't use the IPs for the Eternals, but you could have taken this same group of people and delivered a very good like action drama that probably would have made more sense and paid off in the long term.
I say the same thing about Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like Fast Colors too.
Yeah, like this was this could have been a part of the Fast and the Furious franchise, and you would have been like, you would have been like, this movie has heart.
These are not the same.
And then Vin Diesel would have been like, but we're family. And then yeah. So that was my only thing, but I feel like they're leading up to something that's very important. It's leading up to something important.
I feel like so. But to your point about Kit Harington and his character, I think this is that we talked about it in we were talking about something. Oh, Venom 2. Mm-hmm. How they don't lay the groundwork, and it's just something that you're supposed to like take on a run and just take it and run. I think Kit Harington, his character being like there but not used is a bit of that groundwork. I think it's I agree that it's slow.
I understand the establishment that the foundation that they're laying.
Right.
But I don't think that for the movie that they were trying to tell, which while very much being on Earth was a very cosmic story, the Black Knight is not a cosmic character.
Well, he didn't do anything.
Exactly. He shouldn't have been mentioned. Like
you're saying he shouldn't have been there at all
because he's dwarfed.
Like he's now made very small in the scheme of the Marvel universe, which was another thing. I felt like their power levels weren't very like explained and very consistent because.
But isn't Black Knight very small though?
Yes and no. He's also immortal. Like he won't die as long as he's holding the sword, things like that. Like yeah, but anyway.
Sure,
but can we really quick, the Celestials in this MCU, they're not, these are the ones that we got Celestials at home. This is how I felt. This is what I feel like when watching the Celestials in the Marvel movie so far. It's just like, you remember when you used to get toys from McDonald's and you're like, I got really nice toys, and then you go to your friend's house and they got like posable action figures, but it's the same character. You're like, I got a Batman. No, I got a Batman, but my Batman can move his arms at the elbow and the wrist.
The Nindroids, man. The Nindroids.
So
don't got no Nindroid.
Right, no, like, ain't got no Nindroid money. You got Nindroid money?
Can we get to the heart of their fault?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like just the end of Eternals when the what was his name? Yep, don't get you the line.
Tiamat.
No, the one that was alive.
Asheray. Asherim?
Ash.
Something.
Ash Ketchum.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
The red celestial.
Bull.
Yeah. Arsham.
Arsham
shows up and was just like, don't make me come back here again.
Yo, why Arsham pull up like my mom?
Arsham
made me call off work.
You made me call off of work. You know what? You wanted to be funny in front of your little friends? Come on.
Oh, you thought you was going to embarrass me?
Right.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to embarrass you.
That was one of the funniest parts
that no one else laughed at other than us.
Oh, jeez.
That's another audience.
But he for a not character, right? A character not played by a person. That part was like top tier. Like the way he literally pulled up afterwards and like cleared out. You don't get your ass up this planet.
Like you're like, oh, you good at math, huh? you good at math. Let's see how good you can count. And so like took them and disappeared. And I'm like, I guess you're setting up for something else. But then to realize like I'm gonna evaluate the humankind based off of y'all memories.
Yeah.
Have you seen us?
Hope your upload speed is great.
And then Sprite was like, I want to be human. I was like, no, taxes.
That was wild. That was one of the wildest things. But I guess if you've been a robot for so long, and we'll be done after this. I didn't understand, but I've been a human my whole life, and I don't want to like. What? How do they fall?
Yeah. So, we are going to transition because we can definitely talk about the ridiculousness of the Eternals because we were there. We seen it.
Y'all were also there. Y'all seen it. Comment.
I want to talk about what I believe to be the most effortlessly and efficiently and expertly done movie of blackness to date. To me.
And welcome back to Shot Seed. We have Dan. We're doing some Invincible trivia. Can
I phone a friend?
Yes, actually.
You ain't got no friends here.
That's fair.
What is the name of the organization that Alan the alien works for?
Came out here with questions.
Yo, he really did.
It's your favorite. You say it's your favorite series all the time.
It's my favorite superhero series of all time. And
I got 3 questions right, so you gonna get 3 questions wrong.
Yeah.
That's what Sterling.
That's not what I said.
Yeah.
It sounds like
that's what it sounds like. He came out here swinging.
That's not what I said.
I see 2 empty shot glasses and it don't look like he about to get the third.
He is. He got it. He got it.
Faith.
All right, I got one for you.
No, it's too late. You asked the question already. I got it wrong. Galactic something, but I feel like that's wrong too. Galactic.
Scholastic.
I feel like it's wrong.
They have
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and take
book
this.
report.
If you know the answer, please let us know in the comments. But for now, back to our regular. You all right?
Send help.
Back to our regularly scheduled program.
To date?
To date? To this day?
To this day.
Like even like
hold on.
Coming to America.
Stop it.
Come on, man. We got like 16 minutes.
No, we got time. This can be a long episode. We got time because I really want to talk about The Harder They Fall and like how well I thought this movie was.
I don't know what the time limit is yet.
Right.
I'm sure you're here for it.
Thank you.
I mean, you could always skip to this part and skip over Eternals. Good. So, The Harder They Fall.
Are for a reason.
That's why they're here. I'm going to open up with this one because I really feel like the cast was amazing. The cinematography was amazing.
Oh, dude, beautiful.
The soundtrack was amazing. Like, just the overall storytelling that this movie did from beginning to end. And just like how expertly everything was placed that I didn't feel bored at any point in this movie.
Yeah.
Like there was even the low points of the movie were still like, and I just loved every second of this movie. There, even, you know what? I was so invested into the movie that like the obvious reveal, like the little twist at the end.
Was that obvious?
That was not obvious.
That wasn't obvious to me.
Like
it wasn't obvious, bro.
Okay.
And we watched you.
No. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish. I said even the twist that appeared to be obvious because I feel like a lot of people were just kind of like. I've seen tweets about this movie and people were just like, dope ending, and I'm like, okay, guess y'all saw that coming. I didn't see it coming, and I'm sitting there. They watched me watch it because it was right before we recorded this. I had like 10 minutes left. And they were like, I'm like, no.
That is actually what he was doing.
No, yes. You lying. I was like, you lying. No. Him? No way. So
I seen it. It's true.
And that I just feel like this movie, to me, if there was any movie that we could take for blackness and culture wise as to how to do things, like as far as movies go, this is a good thing. This is a good formula to start with.
What are we looking at, Big Phil?
This is a 5 for me.
Let's go.
This is a 5 for me, and I will watch this movie again.
Oh yeah.
This is a movie that I will put on repeat. I will find the soundtrack wherever I can, and this will probably be my soundtrack for the rest of the year.
It's good. It's good.
Would it be your theme music, your genre music?
No, it's still 80s music.
Genre?
Yeah, but this is a close second. This made me feel
this might be my genre music.
I can see it. Yeah. I mean, that's but
what you got, Josh? How you feeling, man? Thank you for that.
I'm excited. That was I want to talk about it more.
Yes.
After we get our ratings out of the way.
Music was dope. Characters were dope. James talked about building it out. Oh, so I watched the movie and then watched videos afterwards
because he got free time.
Yeah.
He
don't got no kids. So the director James talked about building it out into like a universe, and I was like, you won't.
Right? Because if you do, I'm
trying
here
to take
for
all
it,
my
bro.
money because I got my money until you get it. Like
I will go overdraft $5 for this.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Dan is not actually going to overdraft.
I'm not. I'm a financially responsible adult.
But no, like if he were to do that, it would be, I think, amazing. He also has a movie, They Die by Dawn, that was made in 2013. Mm-hmm. It's also a Western.
Can we not talk about it? Don't talk about that.
Why not?
Have you watched it? I watched it. I
haven't.
Okay.
It's in 2013. He loves Westerns.
Yep. It's not the same thing.
It's probably not the same thing. He probably didn't have the same Netflix budget. So it is what it is. But it does have a very good cast, though.
It does, but don't watch it.
All right, I'm gonna watch it.
I mean, you'll watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
I'm just saying.
Timestamp.
Yep.
Right. I wasn't expecting the family aspect until the very end. Like that caught me by surprise, and I think that's because, to your point, Dan, the story continues to move.
It just doesn't stop.
Like it's like you're on to the next thing. You're on to the next thing, so you don't have time to think and wonder and like it was just great. I thought. I loved how the White Town was.
It was white.
Listen, I thought we were like, can we talk about that part afterwards? Okay. I loved everything, all those elements. But
and like the rich colors, yes, of Redwood. Or are you gonna cheat the count? That line was like, I was like, that's it. I don't know. It just, I think, cemented where they were in time, kind of a thing. Like it was legit. Like that was the law of the land, right? Like we do this. Like we are both honorable people. Like whatever happens. Yeah, I mean, but like we'd have the count, and then you go off, and then no hard feelings, maybe. But like,
or at least it's like, damn,
yeah, like,
damn. Or you could be the Bull James.
Yeah,
don't be the Bull James.
So like that line, for whatever reason, like when Cuffy said that, it was just like, I was like, whoa, are you gonna cheat the count? Who are you for real?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that was wild. Stagecoach Mary's choice to go into town, into Redwood, was like questionable.
Had me talk to the screen. I said, don't do that. It was don't do that, baby.
That was like a okay, I guess this has to happen. If you are a true fan of the Westerns, you have to like have that dynamic. Possibly, I don't think you have to, but like that's what he chose. It was still a great movie. And to talk about the music in this film, I was watching a interview that he did with somebody, and they were like, "Wow, like you use like modern music, like that's so cool. Like, what was that like when you like did that?" And he was like, "They used modern music in the old westerns.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it's not like we think of it as old music or whatever, but like that was the contemporary music of that time. So we just have to like break out of this mindset, idea and mold of like right, yeah, like no,
I
did
like, not feel disconnected at all.
Yeah, not at all. It fit so well. So like,
oh, dude, that moment when Nat or Jonathan was singing and he's just like singing into the camera.
He was singing into the camera, but he was also like,
can we talk about how his singing voice was like? Right?
I was like, he sounded like Nat King Cole for a second, didn't he?
He who remains.
I was like, he did. And what's funny is that he talked about that he's like, I'm not a singer. He's like, I'm a church boy, but I'm not like a singer. I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like you could drop an album and make some moves. An album, you know,
with a strong producer.
Yeah,
strong producer.
Yeah. But no. So that aspect was like just very great. Yeah, for me, and people are gonna be upset with me. It's fine.
I'm not upset with you.
I give it a 4.99.
Okay.
I am upset with you, actually. I'm glad you said it, because I don't have to say it.
I am.
It's like,
because you want to leave space for it to like for him to improve. I get that,
but it was there is, if I were to take things away from the movie, I know that it's literally me nitpicking.
That's why I didn't do that. That's why I gave it a 5, because I was ready to nitpick. I have stuff on my list to nitpick.
Wait, are you saying there's some type of like hypercriticism of black art?
Ooh.
That's why.
No.
But that's to that point. I thought in my mind, I said I could write a list, but I was like, I won't.
I didn't have a list. There was literally there's 2 or 3 things I was like, okay, sure.
What's on your list? What's on your list? Because I want to know if I could. Well, yeah. Here.
I said 4.99.
Put it
back. For me, there was, and actually when I rewatched it with you, the fight scene at the end with the what is it? The Red Hoods come back.
Uh-huh.
And then like they're like fighting around a horse and stuff. I was like, nah, the first time. Second time I was like, actually, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that's fine.
There was some set pieces that I actually saw and I was like, that's me being nitpicky.
Really?
There was like one time when she shot into the horse, I was like, this is a stuffed mannequin of a horse.
Yeah, obviously.
Some of the set, like some of the actual sets, I was like, you can see it felt too contemporary for a second for some of the set placement of like some of the buildings.
You was like real nitpicky.
That's what I said. I was
that scale. I would give it a 5.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I'm not going to do that.
That nitpicky. It was stuff that was like, this doesn't really matter. Like,
but that's what I said. It didn't matter.
It's an awesome movie.
I'm wearing my fault in saying that I said I won't do that and gave it a 5 because that movie to me this might be one of my favorite movies of the year.
Oh yeah, like, definitely.
Easily.
Yeah.
Like
not the Eternals, but this.
Yeah.
Or Doom.
The not Stagecoach Mary's, Trudy's shop, Trudy's saloon.
Yeah, that scene
was wild.
Magic.
That was probably my second favorite scene outside of and Laura, like, actually she also said this. The train scene.
Wild, dog.
The cinematography on the train scene was just. Can we let him do his thing?
Yes, I'm sorry. My bad. Go ahead. 5. I give it a 5.
Oh.
I talked him into it. That was my plan all along.
I loved this film. The things that I think everybody's acting was great. I'm always really worried. I think they hit and I was really excited to talk to you about this because I think they hit so many of like the Western, almost like the Western beats, but not quite tropes, but like making it a Western with like without it being tired at all, you know. I love that this was a story about Black people, and then like racism was touched on without the story being drenched in it, because it was kind of like about us, right? I loved that Rufus Idris, he had a very clear and obtainable goal of why he wanted money. Because like in the old stories, it's just like, I want money because it's my money. But it was like, nah, this is what I'm trying to do.
He was trying to stop gentrification.
He literally was.
Bro, we really got to talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead.
Go ahead.
I love the movement of this movie, and it's so funny watching this in the same time as the Eternals, because this didn't really have like, oh, we got to get the gang together, but it was still kind of like they had to get married, I guess, and that was really it. Great film, great casting, great performances. Dude, Regina King scared me in this movie. Bro. Like, it's because like I think of acting as like mastery of the face, and like her face was so still for most of the movie that every time she popped off, I was just like a little like, all right. Like,
oh, there's one scene where her face does a little tremble, and I was like, this looks intentional, but I love it. She's
master of the craft. Master of the craft. I love this film. Easy 5.0. Easy. This is amazing. I love this is, and akin to Lovecraft Country, is like, this is a story about people, and they are Black. It's not like this is a story about like overcoming and it wasn't even, it was a little trauma. Like the amount of trauma
there was almost no trauma.
That comes
I would say there's no trauma because they recognized the time that they were in. But other than that, there was no trauma. Like, we didn't watch slavery happen on screen.
Right, yeah.
There was no oppression. There was segregation, but even then, segregation like exists on any scale.
To his point, though, like, because Buckworth has that. It's literally like a second, maybe 5 seconds, where they're like, Nat's doing the whole thing of like, nah, don't join me. This is just my fight. And he's like, but you saved me from like this. That time you saved me from this, and like he like pulls his neck down. And you see that I guess he was getting hung. So like, very light touches, but
it's like the amount that comes with like being a Black person in the United States, right?
During the time of slavery.
But it was what was so wild, because you gave your 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
Easy.
What was so wild to me was when they had to go to Whitetown, and I was like, oh snap, yeah, I guess there was white people there, huh? Yeah. Like, I had totally forgot. Like, this was just their world, and I was like in it and just enjoying it. And so then when they went to Whitetown, I was like, oh snap, there's like a whole other America out there.
I just really loved, even in the bank scene with Cuffy, where she was like, oh, you got to go to some town or Redwood for that. And I was like, oh, that's us. That's where we be. That's where we stay.
Cuffy went to Fishtown that day.
Stop!
And they were like, hey, yo, you got to go back up north.
Anywho, and they talked about this in a couple of interviews, like Rufus's goal of like building the like Tulsa before Tulsa, like building Redwood and like making that like their town. I was like, wow, that's really dope. And it wasn't even, he was the bad guy because of how we were introduced to him. But like, he wasn't that much of a bad guy.
He was killing people.
Was.
So because the real Rufus, yes.
Right.
Yes.
But even in this story, the setup gave you a different perspective. But at the same time, he was a very bad guy, to the point that they were like, he was in a steel cage. Like, this man was chained up from the neck up, like all of that stuff, because
doing stuff.
He had just,
he's trying to make
the
moves.
benefit of the storytelling was that he was exonerated, right? So like, that's all that stuff was expunged from a record. But prior to that, the man comes into the movie just popped off, regardless of how, trauma or no,
right?
Trauma or no, you don't walk into your daddy's house and go pop and peace out,
right?
Y'all have a blessed night. But
I love my father. To be very clear.
No.
To the
Tonight on Action 6 News.
right. No, I actually, and there was a point that I was going to make.
Rufus's introduction, pop.
Right, but the goal is admirable, right? But that's often the case from any perspective of a villain,
What
right?
is
When
the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
yeah,
Just
that
like Smush, right?
Smush.
Damn, Smush.
That's a callback to another thing.
From Concrete Cowboy.
Concrete Cowboys.
Also starring Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Black Superman.
6 degrees of separation. So, no, I wanted to talk about the word cowboys because it's very funny that they did not call us cowboys when we were technically the first cowboys, but they called us cowmen, right? Or they call us cowfolk or something like that. Cowboys came when white folks started to try to do to duplicate it. And so they called the white impersonators of cowmen cowboys. And they then were like, we taking that name, we're going to own it.
Who's they that called them?
They that called them was us.
We called them cowboys?
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
Because we were technically like the first.
We were cowmen.
Right.
They were like, that's just a cowboy.
Another thing I absolutely love, when the movie starts, like, these people existed.
Exactly. Period.
And what's wild about that is that, and because I think this is wild because James, the director, is from like London or whatever. He's from across the pond. But I feel there have been instances where black people from London get a lot of flack when they do, let's say, period pieces, because that's what they are. But I think there is a difference, and maybe this is the case. There is a difference when, because he loves Westerns, he's going to take the time to like really care about the story, and you can tell that it's like you can tell that he loves Westerns. And it was very interesting and great for him to put that in there at the very beginning. Before we even get to any of the shooting, let's settle one thing first.
Real quick.
These people existed. And he says that in multiple interviews where he's like, yeah, like I wanted this to be something where like, yeah, it's a fun show or a fun movie or whatever, and like and it's great with all the action and it's a Western, but like off the top, these people existed. You can go research them afterwards.
But I mean, that's a big portion of like the erasure that we often experience in America with our stories being told. And I think because we glorify like the John Waynes and the Clint Eastwoods, and they were literally like characters who were out here committing genocide. But, you know, there was also a culture that existed before those kind of people that were just, you know, good or bad, love them or hate them. They weren't always doing the right thing, but they're the stories that inspired these other people that get more talk than, you know, we do. So,
and to that point, when I say I watched, like, so in another interview, Idris Elba is asked like, hey, like, you know, we've heard that, you know, what do you think about Marvel movies being equated to like the modern day Westerns and stuff like that? Like, how do you feel about that? You know, having dipped your toe in both of the worlds now. And he said, well, like, sure, but not really, because like the stories that we are portraying here in The Harder They Fall, like they've been erased, right? Like they've been eradicated from like history. And like Marvel, like, sure, it's great, but it's like they're not real people.
No, if anything, the only really synonym, the only way that they're really synonymous is like the white saviorism of it, right? Like it's just.
I was just gonna say like also multitude, like there are just so many of them,
right? Like it's the amount of how much is flooding like the market at the time. Like if you watch as many Westerns as I have, and I wish I didn't know how many Westerns I watch, but you know, like if they're fine, But at the same time, like after a while, there's like no depth to them.
Right.
Some of them are very shallow because they're just like pew pew pew.
And that's a huge thing that James talked about. He was like, he loved seeing the Westerns, but like, where was the representation? And even beyond like seeing just Black people or people of color, seeing women who could stand on their own, right?
Exactly.
Like the part where she's Trudy Smith is like, my boss.
Right.
Like,
she's like, did you not see the name?
Like, it's like, not legit. Like she is equal. Like they are not, they have a kinship and they understand each other, but he is not the boss of her. Like, also, Regina has been in a fight or two because she throws hands.
Yo,
that wasn't a choreographed punch. That was a real punch from muscle memory used in the choreograph.
Think about it. She's also been in The Watchmen. Like Zazie Bates has been in Deadpool. Like they have had action choreographed fights at some point.
Punch that Regina
but she threw it. She threw it from a heart. Like she has been at some point in a scrap that no one wants to like.
The smoke was not desired.
You know what? It
was like multiple times.
Yeah,
she threw like 3 punches. I was like,
and it was coming from the hip.
You meant like that's not.
Yeah,
like,
it was one of them where she pulled it from the hip.
I've seen that punch.
Yeah,
that's real.
Master of it.
And the monologue she delivered about hope. You know
dude, while cutting the bro, I was shook.
But see,
that's a real story.
I know, but there's so many of those kind of moments in this movie that like everyone got a chance to do one of those. Like all the stars got to do one of those, and every single one of them was like, "Get this man an Oscar." Like Jonathan Majors, for whatever reason, I am now like 100% fanboy. Like that's
I'm fanboy for other reasons.
All right, so yeah, but I'm talking about for the acting.
Hey. Cheers to everyone.
Right. But like Jonathan, he just like the emotion that he can deliver from just his face. And I mean, maybe that's just from the expertise of clown school. Like just all of it. Like I can watch him on screen. Lakeith Stanfield. Bro, the train scene was like, cause he's the only one that like talked without like no drawl. No southern.
Speaking of the cinematography, when he's talking to the
young
white kid,
oh yeah,
and he's like, "Yo, like, put the gun down." The kid's like, "Nah." He's like, "Put the gun down, or we'll kill everybody." He goes like that, and then like the hands shoot out. I was like, I almost threw my cup at the. You better go ahead, cinematographer, with that shot.
Good shot.
There was so many moments in this that I was just like, Black people are dope. Like I kept saying it and. Like, I'm watching it with headphones on because, I'm trying to, like, watch it right before we do this episode. And, you got babies watching Coco Melon, babies crying. And I'm just
DJ
like,
Coco.
DJ. That's the life I live now. But I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yo, this is dope. Like, this is dope. When he's talking to him on the other side of the door and then the camera pans.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and then he opens the door and it like closes the panel. Yeah.
I was losing my mind at the cinematography and like the choices of colors. Like they were just like, when it's Black folks, we are colorful everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like that is just who we are.
The fight scene between
Trudy and and that was just like
all colors. And it was just like, go ahead.
So about that fight scene, when we go into Trudy's saloon and you have the amazing sequence of that person, I'm like, that would require so much dye though. And then it was like, well, they dye textiles here. And I was like, what else can I say? I was trying to be hypercritical. Y'all shut me up.
I think this movie is something that, and I can only hope, and I feel like that they did enjoy themselves, but like, this is what fuels and like what me as an aspiring actor like wants to be a part of.
Oh man,
because like it just seemed like one, so much fun. Two, the talent was obviously there. Like even if you are if you're a nobody but you're on this cast somehow, some way, and like you're interacting with this cast, it's like you can only hope that you're going to get like you should get better by it. Like
Yeah.
I would love like seeing this was just like, oh, this is why the bug, like I got rebit by the bug.
Exactly.
Of,
like
I
was like behind the cameras. I was like,
oh yeah, even behind the camera. Oh my
when
goodness.
he did the shot on the train, I'm not going to keep hanging up on the train. But when they did the shot, I'm gonna shoot everybody. I was like, how do you do that? And I was like, how do you get the camera to be aligned with like his face, but still get everybody in the shot?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I want to do that.
Probably a lot of takes.
Probably not a lot of takes. Probably not. It's just probably like you run through it once, everybody get the count, and when he says the line,
yeah.
If you ain't got it, then you have a blessed day. We get somebody else in here.
It's kind of a dance. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, and
yeah. And you know, for anyone, we've all acted, and so we understand like counts and beats and stuff like that. And so
Marks.
Hit the marks. But just like, can we talk about Delroy Lindo really quick?
He been around.
First of all, he is Grandpa Paul. Like that when you see
he's
him.
one cool man.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
And
what's he in Shaft?
Nah,
no,
that was
not Colt.
John. I'm gonna say John Hayes.
First of all, let's get it right because we are all brown.
Yeah, no, I know. Go ahead, I'm listening. Because he was the best part of that Shaft movie with
Richard Roundtree.
Richard Roundtree.
Thank you. I was like, I will not lose my Blackport today. And I didn't even have to look it up because I remembered. So happy. But Delroy Lindo as Bass Reeves was just like, I was like, okay. Sometimes you watch movies and you think like people show up because, you know, when it's a black movie, somebody got to show up, right? Like you want to get a recognizable face, but you know, like they may not do much. He came in, and that one scene where he just walking down the town, down the middle, shooting, pow,
off the roof too.
Off the roof.
He's been doing this.
He was. I bet my body count higher than you. You don't want to take that.
Bad.
I love when he was like,
that is right. Is it right or left?
Yeah, it's right arm.
He had every single one of these main characters had a cool line, like cool lines, and I was like, this is what you would want future black folks to see, like that. Like whenever we do something, we do it cool, man. Like westerns back in the day, kind of camp. A lot of campy movies came from the westerns, and like even when they redid Magnificent Seven, still camp lines. But this movie, I just felt like we did it so cool.
Yeah.
And the comebacks and like the retorts, like I was like, I felt offended. I was like, you're not offended? I would shoot this man right now. Yeah. I'm like, I would shoot him ASAP. Like, why are you not reaching for your gun? I'm so glad we don't live in the Western times anymore because we live in Philly. Like Philly is the Wild Wild West.
Closer than you think.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, and there's certain beats to the movie that still you expect, and you're like, you see archetypes show up very quickly, and you're like, oh, I like you.
Dude, when RJ was on the every time the boy was on the screen, I was cracking up, dude. Playing Beckworth.
Buckworth.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because he had not the opening. He was a part of the opening scene,
yeah.
And that I like when he showed up and like started delivering. I was like, "Oh, this man's hilarious." I didn't know
like,
that
too
like,
funny to the point where you're like,
I didn't. So I don't do that. Like you guys already do that, where it's like, he's super funny. He's not making it to this movie. I was like, he's so funny. I can't wait to see how he ends up. And I was like,
foolish mortal.
In the face.
Shut him up, right?
Foolish boy.
Oh, I just peeped. I'm the type of guy who shoots people in the mouth when they talk. He literally shot that man in the mouth.
Yeah.
See, and that might be the bane of like just watching so many movies, and like reading so many books. Like after a while, you start seeing what foreshadowing means as a writer, and so you're like, yeah, nah, that's sad. Still got to see it through, my boy. So,
the show must go on.
Yeah.
Now that this movie from beginning to end was literally like, oh snap. Black people are super cool. That's what I'm saying. And this is like in front of and behind the camera. This is
the
like
soundtrack.
Yeah, like this is like
I want to know who
these
the
stories are cool.
costume designer. I want to like that's how involved in this movie I was. I was just like, I want to know who did the costumes, makeup. Like, I want to know how that cross stayed up there on his head. Like, I'm like, what kind of latex is that? Because that had to be some kind of level of latex. But the makeup was so well done that you don't see it kind of like offset. Yeah. Like it's not offset on his head.
There were a lot of things that it's just like, if one can, that's not a thing. One can only hope that this is the vanguard of the Black movie experience.
I'm excited. I would like to think so. I think to anyone that is in the industry and possibly watching this, like
or going to be in the industry,
right? Yeah, like that you do take this as like a really good example of like how to do, because we talked about the hypercriticism of Black media, and like these are brown people, these are people of color who are going in and saying we're gonna make this as dope and as like expertly completed as possible. And I think sometimes we either get a really good cast or we get a really good cinematographer, but we don't get like both, right? Or like or you may not, or you might get like good writing but not a good cast, or you might get one or the other.
That's interesting.
And I think with this we got the full package, and so that's why it doesn't feel like a Black movie. Like and I say Black in almost in the negative sense because sometimes that's how we view some of the media that comes in.
It's not
just like
Friday.
It's not a BET movie. That's what I'm saying. Come see me. I'm not pulling punches, and I'm being honest. Like it's not one of those like
it's just funny because like I agree with you, but I also know how the masses might take that.
But you, by me saying it this way that I said it, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, good.
That's not the point.
It's not.
You didn't hear a gunshot and say, pew. Now you're wondering how I got here. Like,
Oh gosh.
So yeah, that's me running out of the back of a church. Like it wasn't one of those. And I think that's what we need. That's what I think the future generation of Black movie and Black culture in general needs to like grow from. Like I think so far we've just been okay with like the certain level of camera, cinematography, certain level of writing, and just saying like BET's going to take our money or take our product and give us money for it. And he went and did something in a very expert way, because I wouldn't have thought about a Western with Black folks, because my brain says at that time and date we were slaves, or if we weren't slaves we was running. But this was like this showed us in a very good light. At the same time, it's still a very negative like theme, but
I see what you're saying, and I add to that that hopefully there is enough material out there that all genres can be explored. Sure. And I say that to say, like, I think a lot of the times, or I guess in recent times, the things that people of color get noticed for might not be in the greatest light. Mm-hmm. And that is the only thing that unfortunately gets the light. Hopefully there is enough great projects coming out, and just projects in general, I guess I'll say, that we're not a monolith of
slavery,
or just bad shows in general, and then every 15 years The Harder They Fall comes out, or a Lovecraft Country comes out, and it's like, whoa, that was cool.
Yeah, no, but
right?
But see, the thing is, we have the talent and we have the
technology.
We have the technology. Like we have the Ava DuVernay's,
Avery DuVernay.
DuVernay. Whoa. Press that button, please. I got that wrong. We got the Shonda Rhimes, right? We got the James Samuels. Like, there are people out here who are waiting to get a really good story out and tell a really good story. And I think it's just, you know, a matter of like us investing the money. Like, sometimes it's not up to Hollywood to get something done.
No, that's real.
And
he talked about that in another interview. No, legit. But he was like, because somebody asked him, it was a BBC One Extra. They were like, you know, what was it like to getting, like, how did it feel to have Netflix allow you to like do this? He was like, I think we need to get out of the term of somebody allowing us to do this. He was like, if I had to shoot this on the iPhone 13, I would have shot this on an iPhone 13 and we would have done it. Like, he would have, like, that's the drive that he had. But he also has that thing. He said that he has this thing where it's like, if something like really bugs him and really bites him, like he really like feels attached to it, he has to get it out. So like he's going to get it out no matter how it happens. And so, yeah.
No, and I think it's just now being a matter of being in the room when it happens and like making sure that it gets done well. And that's really what I would like to say, rather than addressing the hypercriticism or talking down to what already exists, but rather like talk up to the excitement of what could come from it. And yeah, man, listen, we really didn't. I will honestly say we didn't even spoil the movie.
Not really, no.
Like we hyped it up. Go watch this movie.
Everybody should watch this movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't already.
Like, I mean,
and if
you're
have,
watching
do it again. You missed something.
Right.
Do it.
No, you did, because C.A. Bozeman is Chadwick Boseman. What am I talking about? Go look it up.
Ooh.
There you go. That was an expert way of doing that.
Do what I can.
Yeah.
It seems we have reached the end of our episode.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Subscribe to Patreon. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
And share. There's somebody out there that might like the Blerd bar, but you didn't tell them about it yet.
Yeah, they might. You know? Tell everybody.
They're almost like evangelists.
No.
It's called social marketing.
Yes.
But I guess.
I think I speak for everybody at this table when I say, y'all have a blessed night.